Good morning, everyone. This is a week that I think everyone waits for, so that it indicates, their week of celebration, not only for Thanksgiving, but that means all the excitement of Christmas and everything begins basically this week. And all the stores start discounting their prices. Black Friday comes this Friday, the day after Thanksgiving, and then you wonder, why is it that so many people have to work on Thanksgiving Day? I gather that Walmart is opened all day Thanksgiving Day, but the sale actually begins at 6 o'clock in the evening. So for those at Walmart who have to work on Thanksgiving Day, they have to have had their Thanksgiving before Thursday. I thought Thanksgiving Day was supposed to be sacred and Easter and Christmas Day. Are they going to be open on Christmas Day too? I'm seriously wondering about all of this. And is it that we just can't take a break from shopping? Or are the deals that good on Black Friday? I hear them advertising televisions 50% off, refrigerators 50% off. Is this real? Or are they just doing this to get us into the store? I mean, now for me, I would not be in the store because the stampede that I see going on, every year someone either dies in a stampede or gets hurt in the stampede to get in the store to be the first to grab that sale. It seems more like maniac behavior to me. Seriously, why would you want to put yourself in a situation where you're going to get trampled on just to go get a sale? Does that sale not continue the next day too? Oh no, you see, because when you go into the store later on that evening, when they claim that window of that sale is finished, they go, oh, you should have been here this morning, you would have gotten it $300 less. So I'm not sure how this thing works. I am in doubt of it all the time. I question it, and I simply, as I went online this morning and I saw them show a crowd entering a store from their file footage, I'm going, why do we do this? Some people do it for the excitement, for the thrill of saying, I got a sale. But a lot of them take it back the next day too. I just learned that over the weekend. That a lot of people, when they go to these grand sales, they buy the stuff and then they bring it back. They take it back to the store. So why put yourself in danger in order to get a sale? That's my question to you for this holiday weekend as I look at it. I just wonder, how and why do you do this? Is it for the thrill? Is it for the excitement? Is it that you just want to be included? And I'm not so sure the people in the Midwest are going to have a great Thanksgiving, and even for you to get to them to have your Thanksgiving, because I just watched some serious storms over the weekend in the Midwest. Weather's not going to be that great in the Northeast either. So traveling might just be a problem. So wherever you're going to go for the holidays, make sure, something that I really make sure of anywhere I travel, you don't have a connecting flight to your destination. Because if you leave on that flight, it's more than likely that you'll get there to where you're going. But if you have to make a connection in, say, Chicago, or some other place in the Midwest to get to your destination, might not be working this time around. So lots of folks seem to be kind of supposed to expect sleeping in the airport for Thanksgiving Day. Not a pretty picture of cars overturning in the storm. It was just horrible. So my advice to each, well, I hope that everybody has their travel plans all sealed and locked down already. But if you don't, because sometimes you wait for the last minute and you get some great deals going where you're going because that flight is not full, so they got to put some people in there, so you get a good deal that way. It's just that most of us kind of have to plan our trips. But if you don't have to plan, especially if you're single and free and, kind of flexible, just wait for the last minute. You never know. You'll get a cheaper fare. So it takes me to wonder now. What is the TSA thinking? Are they insane? Why would they want us to go on a trip anywhere, especially if you're sitting in the middle seat, and you're going to have two people yapping on their cell phone, and you're supposed to try to sleep in the middle? Well, if you have a window, it's not so bad. Because maybe if you have the window and the person on the aisle seat is talking, it's not too bad. But if you even have the window and two people beside you decides to speak in the middle and on the aisle seat, just imagine how miserable that would be. Now, I'm not so sure how many people are going to pay the roaming charges on their phone or pay for the Wi-Fi service from the airline, because you have to have the Wi-Fi service in order to get the call anyway. And why is it that we can't just take a break from our phones when we're on a plane going somewhere without talking? Can you imagine going on a flight to Europe, from Miami to Europe, or from New York to Europe, from Los Angeles to New York, or from Los Angeles to any place, and have people yapping the entire way? Because some people will actually yap the entire way, even if it's 5 hours. Now, I heard a woman on Friday being interviewed and saying, because they were talking to everyone about this, and 99.99% of people are saying, no thank you, TSA, we do not want this. We do not want this. Flight attendants have come out against it. I am coming out against it because I think when you go on a plane, it should be a little peaceful. Can you imagine two passengers catching fight on a plane because that one won't shut up on their cell phone? I see that in my vision. So I'm serious. As we ponder this, because we want to catch up with what's going on in Europe, I ask the question, what did we do before we had cell phones? We went on the plane, we sat like normal human beings, we either slept or we read a book or a magazine until we get to our destination. Why can't we do that again? Why are we... Well, they say it's far from now, but I'm not so sure about that. Because, they tell you it's far away, and then January comes and they go, oh, yes, we've decided. You can now use your cell phones. I am sorry for those flight attendants who are going to have to just be constantly parting scuffles on a plane. Because I bet you there will never be 3 people sitting in a row, whether it's in first class with 2 seats or in coach with 3 seats across, business class, or if you're on that that Airbus with the business class with all those seats in the middle. I think it's like 3 seats in the middle. How do you control people on their cell phones? Because some people are not going to think about the cost of the Wi-Fi and the cost of the roaming. They're just going to want to talk. I gather in Europe it's like $12 a minute to speak on your phone. You want to pay $12 a minute to speak? And it might even be more here, I think. So we need to really consider that. And if anyone asks us, please speak the truth. You really do not want to have cell phones being allowed on a plane. It will drive the flight attendants crazy. It will drive your fellow passenger crazy. And it will not be a wonderful, restful, peaceful flight anymore. I just can't imagine it. So now we're going to have to get in our cars and drive to where we want to go? Unless we must take a plane? Because we just can't take the hassle of trying to ask someone to be quiet because I'd like to rest on my journey of a 5-hour flight or a 3-hour flight. I just see that working out, Mr. TSA. What did we do before there were cell phones? Oh my Lord, please let me know. Technology is a wonderful thing, but sometimes we need to have common sense lead the way and let technology stand behind common sense. Good morning. This is the Diana Wright Show Live. We thank you so much for joining us today from around the world and in the United States as we celebrate the week of Thanksgiving. Which also leads me to ask the question, should every day be the day of Thanksgiving with God? Or should it only be that day that we choose to worship on a Saturday or a Sunday? What does a Sabbath truly mean to you? I'd love for you to think about that as you go about your day today. And as you look in that mirror this morning, and if you are not at a mirror, you look in your phone or you look in your computer screen, because you know those computer screens, when they're off, they're like a nice big mirror. Just look in that and say, I love me. Thank you, God, for how you made me today. I feel good about myself. I love who I am. And even though I might put in a weave here or there, or I change my eye color with some contacts, I still love me. No one is saying you can't make additions and subtractions. But first, you should be satisfied and love you just the way you are. Just the way God brought you out of your mother's vagina. You should love yourself. As I speak to people all the time, I get this constantly. For the ones who love themselves, I get positive vibrations of, yes, you know, oh, I love myself, but everybody's always giving me a hassle that I'm too high on myself. You're never too high on yourself. We're not talking about being in love with yourself. We're talking about loving yourself the way God made you to be. So as we take our journey this week, which is going to be a short week for me and everyone else, I just asked you to think about that. What does a Sabbath mean for you? Should you be thankful and praising God every single day? Or is it that the Sabbath is special that you take that time to do nothing, no work, no maidservant work, no anyone, no neighbor working, no one working? And whether we go to church on the Sabbath day, which we all call Saturday, some people say their Sabbath day is indeed Sunday. Aren't we all going to go to the same place, we hope, which is heaven? And aren't we all supposed to be worshiping the same God through his son Jesus? How do you evaluate that? If you're not a pastor, if you're a lay person, just questioning those things. Because I believe that people should always question stuff. You read your Bible and you question it. You go to church and the preacher preaches and you love the preacher and the preacher is wonderful, or the prophetess or the bishop or the pastor or the minister, whatever title you give. But aren't you supposed to question and engage in the scripture, what it means, and not just the one verse that the preacher preaches on that day, but for you to go home and read the entire chapter? And then when you go to Bible study, you have a question to ask. Because I'm sure you're going to have a question, because the Bible seems in some places to contradict itself. So that's one of the things I'm asking you to just kind of ponder on today and this week as we do Thanksgiving, because a lot of us, we get together as family and we give thanks on Thanksgiving Day. But shouldn't we be giving thanks every single day? The fact that you woke up this morning, you should be thankful for that. The fact that I'm able to speak to you and hope that you're watching and you're telling a friend and you're being held from anything that I might say is a blessing, is a thing to thank God for. I just want to share with you, last week was just a hard week for me. I was just not okay all last week, and it crescendos into Friday and part of Saturday, and now I'm good. But is it okay for us to say we're not okay? I think it is. It's okay for you to say, oh my God, today, Pastor so-and-so, I am not okay. Is it that we're afraid to share our business with our pastors because we believe they're going to tell someone else or they're going to use it in their sermon and everybody is going to know that, oh, it's my problem? What is it? But it was a hard week for me because I just kind of could not believe what took place last week. And it's not just last week, it's an accumulation of the weeks of disrespect shown to President Barack Obama, the hate that spewed from the Republican Party, the fact that the Republican Party seemed to hate the poor, hate immigrants, hate black people, hate Spanish people, hate everybody, unless you look like them. It was just hard for me. And then I heard about the Minister of Government in France that was called a monkey. It just made me blue, along with my own other issues. But as I always say to you, if you love yourself, you can come through just about anything with God, with some prayer. Oh yes, I had to go into my bathroom on Saturday morning and cry out to God. And then you feel like He answered. And I have friends that I spoke with during last week. They had the same problem. Different issues, of course, because everybody has their own problems. And to each of us, our problem seems to be the biggest problem in the world until we hear someone else's problem. And yes, I encourage those friends to pray like I did, and they did, and they got instant miracles, some of them. So what do you do when your whole life feels like it's crashing down? You feel like God is not answering your prayers. You're mad at God sometimes. What do you do? Well, I like to go in my closet or my bathroom and lock the door and scream and holler. What do you do? And when you have tragedy in your life and devastation, how do you handle it? Do you pretend like all is well, or you just kind of just bawl and get down on your knees? You don't have to get on your knees. You can cry out to God standing. What do you do? I hope and I pray and I reach out to you this morning and hope that you're able to pray and receive God's blessings that takes you out of that moment or that meltdown that you're having, individually or with your family or whatever is going on around you. I just ask you to make sure when you're praying, you actually believe that you receive what you're asking for, and you shall have it. Hate does not work very well with me. I think I don't know President Barack Obama personally, but I've never ever seen the disrespect that's thrown onto him, the hate, the blockage, trying to kill everything he tries to do. And even though it's your idea as a Republican, you hate it because it's now something that Obama says is okay. Even immigration. last week. President Obama said, okay, I don't have to deal with the entire bill the way it is. I will deal with it piece by piece. Boom! The Republicans who actually wanted it that way said, oh no! Now Obama wants it that way. It's not good anymore. Maybe I shouldn't. Maybe I'm just too emotional. A boyfriend of mine once told me when I was living in Jamaica, he said, you are socialist. All you do is talk about poor people and wonder about poor people and want poor people to do better and all that kind of stuff. What is your problem? Maybe I have a problem. But I truly cannot. It's just like wasting food. I just cannot waste food because I believe that there's someone out there who's hungry. Why should I be wasting food? So I make sure that no food goes waste in my house unless it spoils. It's just me. I don't know what it is. I hate injustice. And I truly hate the fact that people hate and keep malice and hold grudges and revenge. No, please rebuke those spirits from your life. Revenge, envy, jealousy, hate. Rebuke those things out of your spirit. Malice. If someone does you something that you don't like, tell the person you hurt me. I don't like what you did to me, and keep on going. And if the person apologizes, it's even gravy on your bread. So let's in the process of this week that we thank God for, especially Thursday, ask God to rebuke the spirit of all those things I just mentioned. Malice, revenge, holding grudges, forgiveness, jealousy, hate. Ask Him to cleanse us as we thank Him for the turkey and the ham and the stuffing and whatever else we have on Thanksgiving Day. And let us not do it one day. And let us all encourage our children to love themselves so when they have their own tragedies, they are strong enough in their love for themselves to deal with it. And I think there's a little confusion about my book, Deadly Negligence, that's online, available on Amazon and downloaded. You can download it on Kindle. I just want to straighten some things out because a lot of people kind of thought that I was writing about somebody else. I'm writing about my daughter's story. It is my daughter's story. That almost her near-death experience because of negligence from a nurse and doctor in the hospital. It is her story. I'm not writing about someone else or fiction. Because I'm surprised that a few people were, Facebooking me over the weekend and saying, is this your daughter? Yes, it is. I truly had no, thoughts of writing a book until this happened to me. Or happened to my daughter, I should say. It affected all of us. But it's her story. So now, what I feel I need to do is just ask you, along with looking at the book and coming and joining me on my show here, The Diana Wright Show, TDWS, I want and ask of you to go to her webpage and look at it. www.pavismiraclehealing.com, and you will see that is the story I write about in the book. And that's the reason I keep telling you that God is truly supernatural and miraculous. So yes, ladies and gentlemen who are looking at Deadly Negligence, my book, it is my family story. It is my daughter's story. It's a true story. Nothing made up. Everything is out there in the open for you to read and see. But when you do read it, it will give you hope. And it will make you believe in miracles again. Because people just can't even believe when they look at the pictures on the cover. They're going this and this and that. Yeah. Because God is truly miraculous and supernatural and have powers that we don't have. We can only do what we can do as human beings, but He has to do the hard work. So as we take a break now and come back in just a moment, we thank you so much for joining us today. This is the Diana Wright Show live online, www.dianawrighttv.webs.com, and it's www.pavismiraclehealing.com. We'll be back in just a moment. Back in a moment. Hello everyone, this is a season of giving. And I'm asking you to consider one of your gifts to be Deadly Negligence, written by yours truly, Diana Wright. A story that will give you hope, make you mad, shock you sometimes, but is bound to increase your faith and make you believe in miracles again. So please, give Deadly Negligence as a gift. As the gifting season begins to heat up, I am depending on you to do this for me. Thank you so much, and be the proud person to give a gift of the book Deadly Negligence. It's available on Amazon.com and on my website dianawrighttv.webs.com. Thank you so much for my viewers around the world and in the United States. Be blessed. Remember, April 30th, 2014 is International I Love Me Day. I want you to start thinking about what will you do special for you on that day. Share it with me on Facebook and Twitter. And join the conversation on the Diana Wright Show, Monday through Friday, 10:30 a.m. We are live. The number to call, 561-228-1921. That's 561-228-1921. Join the conversation. Like us on Facebook. And follow me on Twitter. Okay, we are back, and this is the Diana Wright Show live. We thank you so much for joining us from around the world and in the United States. And tomorrow morning, we welcome to the program, Mr. Sean Marvelous Morris. And he's having an event that he calls Expectations, not with an E, but an X. And it's an all-inclusive event, which I find very interesting. Will be held this Saturday, November 30th. After you finish eating all the turkey and all that kind of stuff, I guess you go to Sean and you have a blast and dance off all that food that you ate. So you can join me live on the Diana Wright Show tomorrow, and we will talk to him about this event, why he decided to do the event and how it works and what you have to pay, and everything is included. Wow, Mr. Sean, what is exactly included? That sounds like a whole lot of stuff you're giving away there. So we would like to talk to him tomorrow. Sean Marvelous Morris will join me inside of the Diana Wright Show live tomorrow morning, and we will be talking about his event called Expectations with an X. Thank you very much. Also, I invite you to go and check out Brother Bunny. He is Chef Bunny inside of Auntie Merle's Kitchen, and they're located in the Burlington Shopping Center, and that's located at Southern Boulevard and 441, right at that corner. That's a nice plaza right there. Burlington Coat Factory is in there. It used to be Kmart, but it's no longer Kmart, because I have to say that so some people know exactly what I'm talking about. Chef Bunny's there. The patties are great, and he allows you to taste the food before you buy. Wow, who does that? That's a wonderful thing. So he has these little things, these little bowls, tiny bowls, that you can taste the curried goat or the oxtail or the jerk pork or jerk chicken or all those other things that he sells. And you can then decide which one you want to buy. Isn't that nice? So check out Chef Bunny and tell him Diana Wright sent you. he will be pleased to see you. A very nice young gentleman he is. Not a young gentleman because he's an older guy, but he's a nice guy. So check him out. Auntie Merle's Kitchen in the Burlington Coat Factory Plaza, and it's at Southern and 441. Alright, I want to just kind of shift here to Honduras. I see that 2 men are claiming the presidency of that country. And one of them are praying to make sure that he is the winner. So I'm not sure how that works, but I'm going to follow that story because I find it very intriguing that 2 guys can claim victory in the presidency of Honduras. Yeah, that actually happened. So we will watch that story because I didn't get to read the entire story. It was short. Yes, I read it, but I didn't have time to write it all out because I just couldn't figure out how they do that. There was an early count and they announced the presidency for one guy, and then they said, oops, no. The other guy said, I want to. How do 2 people win the presidency? Well, I guess we could have had that here. Both Al Gore and George W. could have kind of co-president. Let's see how they handle this in Honduras. We didn't handle it very well here. We had it gone all the way to the Supreme Court. But let's see how a little place like Honduras will handle it. I will give you the update as I get it. Okay? Alrighty. Now, a lot of folks, including Prime Minister Netanyahu of Israel and people in Congress, Democrats and Republicans alike, are very upset about the deal that was cut in Geneva, Switzerland on Sunday between Iran and all the other nations. And I'm truly wondering if people actually listen to what's included in the agreement, which is historic, even though Netanyahu say it's a mistake, it's not historic. It's yeah. But what I would like to ask is, would you prefer the alternative? War, which seems to have been the constant threat to Israel and threat of Iran to do this and to do that. They're only getting $7 billion lifted. The sanctions, most of the sanctions are still in place. So why is it that so many people are dissatisfied and angry even, because Netanyahu, he is ticked off that this agreement happened? Isn't it better to have this agreement for 6 months while you kind of stamp out and work out the rest of the issues than have the alternative of Iran being able to have a nuclear bomb that they could strike Israel or anywhere else with? Why are we so disagreeable? Why is it that we would not want something that is not exactly what we want, but something that actually could lead to a better decision? We all are suspect of Iran because of Ahmadinejad and his fierce, things that he spoke about Israel and all that. And no one trusts Khomeini. But Rouhani seemed to be a guy that most people are kind of warming up to. Some people say he's pretending and trust but verify. Yes, you should always trust but verify, not only with Iran, but with people around you every single day you live. Some of your friends you need to trust and verify, because they act as if they're your friends in front of your face, and then when you turn your back, they go zzz. And if they have a knife close by, they'll just stick it in there and turn it. Seriously. So I think we should, as a people, just kind of take a breath and think of the alternative if we do not actually sit down with Iran and let them be more isolated. The sanctions have worked better than any sanctions ever. So let's give President Obama credit for that. Thank you very much. and his administration. Yeah, they're not doing a lot of other things well. But at least this whole Geneva thing and this Iranian thing kind of took the healthcare thing off the table. I was just getting exhausted hearing about all that was bad about the healthcare law, the Affordable Care Act, instead of anything that's good about it. It's the same thing with this Iranian agreement. Is there anything good about it? I'm sure we can find some good things. Is there bad things about it? I'm sure we could find some bad things. But shouldn't we just work and negotiate and get it better? As opposed to try to say, oh, it's not historic, it's no good, it's bad for everyone. Oh my Lord. Sir Netanyahu, please, calm your temper. Take a breath. Look in the mirror and say, I love me. And just breathe. The constant, sometimes you watch the news and it's just so tiring. It's just war here, war there. Bob Marley once says, war around the world, war everywhere. It's war and rumors of war. So, consider the alternative to not having that agreement in Geneva, Switzerland, yesterday, to letting Iran feel more isolated and more mad and more creating more nuclear whatever they do, because we never seem to get the truth. And Saudi Arabia is upset too. Why? Because there's a religious fight between the different factions in Saudi Arabia and in Iran. So it's not just what face value of not someone just being upset. And of course France kind of, showed their muscle the other day. Why? Because they have some other agreement going on with Saudi Arabia and they didn't want to piss off Saudi Arabia. So, we are just the last to know the secrets of the deals that go on as a public. They only tell us what they think we need to know. But if you go and take the time and research it yourself, you will get all the little details that's missing. And then you will say to yourself, why are those guys actually fighting anyway? Wow. There's something disturbing happening around the country here with our teenagers. It's called knockout, where teenagers knock out innocent people for pleasure. They're in a group. So my advice to each and every one of you today is, wherever you go, it's happening a lot in New York, it seems, and some other places, you need to be mindful of your surroundings. If you see a pack of teenagers, walk the other way. Because that might just be the pack that's going to punch you out to the floor, and one person has actually died because of this. And this is supposed to be funny? Teenagers are doing this for pleasure? Because I see the video of these teens. Do they have parents? Where are their parents? Are the parents watching television able to recognize their children in those videos? Because believe me, if my son was in that video, I don't care how much he try to camouflage his looks, I would know him. Parents, you need to get control of your teenagers and have them do something constructive with their lives, as opposed to trying to knock someone out for pleasure. Oh, and it's called knockout. It's called a knockout game. Oh my word. And the police just are not able to catch these kids. I think they caught like 2 of them or something. But what is going on? What kind of country are we living in today? Should we just wake up every morning and live in fear? I refuse to do that. But I do ask you to be aware of your surroundings. When you go to the shopping center, be aware of your surroundings. Don't leave your handbag in the car. Yield not to temptation. And ladies, I see you doing it all the time. You have your pocketbook in the cart and it's wide open. And you turn your back and you're getting something off the shelf, or you're bending down to get something, and I'm going, why would you do that? Anyone could just reach into your wallet, take out your wallet, into your pocketbook, take your wallet out, and you would never know. If you're going to leave your bag at the top, at least hold the handle while you're going down to look for something. Because you can actually hold the handle of your bag while it's resting and reach for what you're getting. Don't just leave your pocketbook exposed because you're in Costco or because you're in Publix or Walmart. I see it every time I go grocery shopping. And it's only because my family's there I'm not tempted to go, why are you doing that? Because, they don't like when I talk too much when I'm with them. Okay? They want to keep me quiet. So, I tend not to, but I'm just burning to say something. Hello, your bag is open. Because people, I don't know, is it a false sense of security? Or are they just more trusting than I am? And it's not that I'm not trusting. I just believe that you should be careful with certain things. Why would I want to leave my car in the parking lot with all my bag and everything exposed in there? Now some crazy kid just passed by and said, oops, there you go. Must be money in that bag. And boom, he breaks your window and takes the bag and he's gone. And then you think you're unfortunate. You're not unfortunate. You're stupid. Because you should not have done that. People leave their expensive glasses in their car. Now, if it's a tested glasses, well, and they get it. They can't really do much with it anyway, because if it's prescription, they can't wear it. But my golly, stop leaving your pocketbooks in the car, ladies. And stop having your pocketbooks in the cart. That small part of the cart up top? And you're just gone getting something and doing something else with the cart sitting right there. And then if someone robs you, you then think you're unfortunate? No, it's your fault. Don't present temptation to other people. So that's my advice for the holidays. Watch out for those knockout teenagers. Watch out for your surroundings when you're going in and out your car to go shopping. Be aware of your surroundings. When you park, try not to park too far away in some lonely place where there's no one else. And please, close those pocketbooks if you have to have them in that cart. Because sometimes what we think is ease, is easier to just put it down as opposed to have it on our shoulders. It's just temptation to create a scene. Okay? And when you're going to Black Friday, this Friday, just keep in mind safety. Because it really doesn't matter if you get the sale if by the time you get to the door someone tramples you. Getting that sale would not have been so important anyway. That TV or that phone or whatever you're bumping through the stampede to get, if you get trampled or killed, it would not be that important anyway. So, just want you to keep those things in mind as you go about your Thanksgiving week, my favorite holiday. Not necessarily for the food, but just for the camaraderie. Even though I have a small family, it's just time off from work and people can just kind of breathe and have conversations and talk about what they're thankful for that year so far. Because by the time you get to Thanksgiving, you only have another month left. So you must have had something within that year that you're thankful for. I have lots to be thankful for this year. Lots to be sad about too still, but much more to be thankful for than to be sad for. So what do they normally tell you when people go to a therapist for marital counseling? They normally say to you, go home and make a list. One side, all the good things, and the other side, the bad things. And if the bad side outweighs the good things, then you need to step. But if the good side way outweighs the bad side, which most of the times that's what it is, then you need to stay and try and work and fix your marriage. But sometimes people get divorced and their only mission in life is to stick it to the other person. That, I think, is evil and wrong. If you are divorced from someone, why would you try to hurt that person, and that person is doing nothing to you but only helped you within the marriage that you were in? Because I know a lot of people who are married and the wife is assertive and a good businesswoman and does everything for the family, while the father and the children enjoy the fruits of the labor. Yes, they work too. But when there's a divorce, there's this bitterness to try to hurt the other person financially. Why would you want to do that? Never bite the hand that feeds you. My grandmother always told me that. If someone gives you food, never be ungrateful. And as my mom always told me, you're strongest at your weakest point. She used to drill that into me every day when my daughter almost died. She always tells me that. You're strongest at your weakest point. It's in the Bible also, said in different words. So reach for your strength today. Whatever you're going through, even if you have nothing to be thankful for this week, just reach for that and know that you are strongest at your weakest point. So as I mix it up for you today on this glorious week, because I see it, you see the traffic increasing on the road, everybody's driving, when you go to the mall now it's full, you see it. As we go about our week and into the Christmas holiday, let's just be mindful of what's going on around us. Just be a little more careful with your pocketbook and your valuables. Don't leave your pocketbook in the car. And if you are so down and can't see the light at the end of the tunnel, remember, you're strongest at your weakest point. We'll take another break and come back in just a moment. This is the Diana Wright Show Live, and we truly, truly thank you for joining us from around the world and in the United States. Back in a moment. Hello everyone. I am just asking you from around the world and in the United States to partner with the Diana Wright Show. Sponsor the Diana Wright Show or advertise on the Diana Wright Show. To do so, please call 561-228-1921. That's 561-228-1921. Please sponsor, partner with us, and advertise with us to make the show a big hit, just like you do by liking us on Facebook and following me on Twitter. Thank you so much. Don't forget the number to call, 561-228-1921. That's 561-228-1921. Also, we invite you to invite me to be at your event as a speaker and to tell you about my new book, Deadly Negligence. And so we encourage you to partner with us right here on the Diana Wright Show. Advertise with us and sponsor the Diana Wright Show. 561-228-1921. Thank you so much. Hello everyone. It doesn't matter who you are, how rich you are, how poor you are. But there has to be a point in your life, and you will come to that point, where you have to take someone you love to the hospital. But have you ever considered that you could take that loved one, in my case, my only child, to the hospital in a normal state, and then you leave 5 months later, brain damaged, in a wheelchair, without your senses. This is my true story, Deadly Negligence, the book, available on Amazon and at my website dianawrighttv.webs.com. I'm asking you today to get a copy. Support my story. Let us get this out there, because this story will captivate you. It will shock you. It will give you hope. It will increase your faith and make you believe in miracles again. Thank you for picking up your copy today. And just in case you know Oprah Winfrey or Tyler Perry or Mr. Levinson, let them know this is worth a movie. Thank you. Get your copy today. Alrighty, we're back and you're inside of the Diana Wright Show live, www.dianawrighttv.webs.com. And I'm also going to give you my daughter's website, which is www.pavismiraclehealing.com, and you will see her story. And yes, ladies and gentlemen, the story of Deadly Negligence is indeed my daughter's story. It's not a makeup thing. It's not someone else I know. It is Paviel's story and God's supernatural, miraculous healing. It truly is miraculous, believe me. And you will agree when you take a look. Don't forget that tomorrow, Sean Marvelous Morris will be joining me. He puts on an event called Expectations with an X. And it's an all-inclusive event, so we'll talk about that, because I thought only hotels were all-inclusive, you know, like sandals and beaches. And so Mr. Sean Marvelous Morris has come up with party, expectation, inclusive, all-inclusive. So he'll be my special guest inside the Diana Wright Show tomorrow. He'll be calling in on our phone line, which is 561-228-1921. That's 561-228-1921. If you have an event that you'd like to promote and talk about, and if you know someone who you think is worthy for us to talk to, has something to share, a good message, just let us know. That's the number to call, 561-228-1921. That's 561-228-1921. I see that the U.S. government expects to sell the last of its stakes in General Motors by the end of this year, bringing an end to a sad chapter in the 105-year-old auto company's history. The Treasury Department, in a statement issued on Thursday, said it still owns 31.1 million shares of the auto giant, less than 2%. It plans to sell the shares by December 31st, as long as the price holds up. Shares of GM briefly hit $39 in trading early Thursday. Okay, remember the Dow? 16,000? Woo! Is Obama going to get any praise for that? No, I don't think so. The Republicans will say, oh no, he has nothing to do with that. The shares pulled back a bit in morning trading, of course, like everything else does with the stock market. You just never know what's going to make it go up or what's going to make it come down. But still, we're up 1.04 or 2.8% to $38.73. The shares have gained 34% this year, just in 2013. So, when everybody was killing President Obama for helping out GM, bailing them out, look at this. Interesting thought. But you see, we don't talk about the good things that President Obama does. We only talk about the bad things he does. And we just disagree with him, even though we agreed that that plan that he's coming up with is our plan. But it's no longer a good plan because it's the black man's plan. How confusing is that? The government received 912 million shares in exchange for $49.9 $38.5 billion. That was a bailout during the financial crisis in 2008 and 2009. So far, it has recovered $38.4 billion of the money that was used for the bailout, but selling the remaining shares at 37.69 closing price gets the government, listen, 1.17 billion, leaving taxpayers short of roughly 10 billion. So we'll see how that works out. Taxpayers initially got a 61% stake in GM, and the way the Republicans and everyone carried on, they acted like Obama was getting the shares for himself personally, That was a really interesting saga in our history. In exchange for the bailout, which was needed because GM nearly ran out of cash and may have faced liquidation, Treasury gradually has sold off its stakes since November 2010 initial public offering. So you see, sometimes when we really decide to downbeat something, and when it works out, we say nothing. Because the media is not saying much about this, because that's just how the mainstream media seem to be. President Obama again was in the port of New Orleans earlier this month, talking about repairing a much bigger problem: the nation's aging highways, bridges, and ports. I simply ask again, are we going to continue to say no to President Obama's infrastructure bill and wait until the bridges fall down? Saying that 1 in 9 bridges are structurally deficient and more than 40% of major highways are congested, President Obama repeated his call for major infrastructure investment, but it's unclear how or if that will happen, because remember now, the Republicans are hardly working. They're hardly working for the rest of the year. And they don't want to deal with immigration, infrastructure, the jobs bill, the farm bill, the any bill, the nothing bill. They just want to talk about the badness of health care, Affordable Care Act. Oh my goodness. Remember during President Obama's State of the Union speech in February, when he started out with that Fix It First program? He called for $40 billion in spending on a backlog of urgent repairs and upgrade of our system. It's not just black people or, immigrants that use it. Everybody uses the highways. Everyone uses the bridges. What are we waiting for? And that would follow $31 billion that went into infrastructure as part of the American Recovery and Reinvestment Act. Remember that. But those sums are dwarfed by the $3.6 trillion in investment the American Society of Civil Engineers says it needs by 2020. In its 2013 report card for America's infrastructure, released in March, the ASCE, which is the American Society of Civil Engineers, gave the nation a D grade, with aviation, roads and transit, a D also, and ports and rail a C, and C respectively for just about everything else. The overall grade was a slight improvement from D in 2009. But the group emphasized in a report that America's critical infrastructure, principally its roads, bridges, drinking water system, mass transit systems, schools, and system for delivering energy, may soon fail to meet society's needs. So I wonder when that infrastructure bill is going to be approved by the House of Representatives, headed by Speaker Boehner, the TAND guy, and Paul Ryan, the budget guru guy, the deficit hawk guy. When is this going to happen? When are we going to rise up and have something happen? Well, wait until one of their family members are crushed under a bridge, and then you will see, action immediately. But the little people, Remember Trey Raydell last week? He's a congressman from Florida. So even though he broke the law, all he gets to just say, I'm taking a leave of absence. One America for the poor, one America for the rich, says John Edwards. We know it's true. We see it every day. So what are we going to do about it? How are we going to vote in 2014 and 2016? How are we going to get our justice as people, as immigrants, as black people, as Hispanic people, as Chinese people, as Indian people? How do we get our share of the pie without haters just hating us every day? How do we resolve that? How do we love America as our country too? Because we, all immigrants, we chose America. The people that were born here didn't choose it necessarily. They were just born here. So how do we as a society, as a people, do better? I think we start by each individual loving who we are. Stop the hate. Stop the envy. Stop the unforgiveness. Stop holding grudges. And let us give some more love. The way you give love in Thanksgiving and in the holiday for Christmas, just let's take us that through the year. And as we celebrate on the Diana Wright Show International I Love Me Day, April 30th, 2014, which is our second year, I invite you to join me on that crusade and that journey. So have yourself a blessed day. Thank you so much for joining me today. And do not forget to join me tomorrow when I will be talking to Sean Marvelous Morris of Expectations with an X, the all-inclusive party being held in Davie this Saturday. If you love something, set it free. If it comes back, it's yours. If it doesn't, it was never yours. Have yourself a blessed day, and we'll talk again tomorrow, same time, same place. This is the Diana Wright Show Live. Keep saying the magic words. It's only 3. I love me.